chimera scale. Hello everybody, so for today I have a spoiler-free review for you for the book by E.J. Beaton, The Councillor. I found this book through the Brothers Gwyn channel, who found this very engaging. So yeah, and if you have read this book already, then you of course know what the chimera scale is and what the significance is for this book. So in The Councillor, we encounter Lysander Pryor, who is our main character, and she has made her ranks, through the palace administration. She was handpicked by the Empress Zarilin, who visited an orphanage and plucked her out of there, and then gave her a lot of education, made her chief historian, so to say, and then also names her counselor, a position that only comes in effect after the Empress has died, and this happens very early in the book. And of course not everybody is happy that Lysander is named counselor, because there are lots of noble families who of course think that this honor should have gone to them, because the counselor is basically the king, or in this case maybe also the queen maker. She is tasked with picking the next ruler, and this is how this book starts off. Now, as I said already, we have a queen here. We have a very gender equal society. This is on purpose. The author identifies, I think, as non-binary. So they said in an interview that it was a conscious decision to create a book where patriarchy doesn't play a role, so that problems can come to the forefront that are not caused by a patriarchal structure. And I have to say, it's a very interesting premise, and I also think that they do a very good job when it comes to that aspect of the book. They also say in this interview that doing away with patriarchy does not mean that women are automatically good and that they cannot be flawed characters. And I think that's a very good and a very valid point to make. And the counselor does this actually in an exemplary way, because we're introduced to lots of female characters. A lot of positions are filled by females. I think it's actually, when we look at it, probably more females in power than males. Even so, all positions seem to be equally open to either gender. But we kind of, like, even lowly positions, like figures are introduced by saying, oh, the servant enters the room, and only later on we realize that this servant is actually female. So it's not very explained, it's very normalized in this book. But as I say, a lot of those characters are flawed characters. The queen might appear as this successful ruler, but we find out more and more, no? She has her dark side, she has her weaknesses. And the same goes for our main character, Lysander, who we find out very quickly has her problems as well, has her secrets. And one of those secrets is the chimera scale, which is a drug that she's taking. And I don't think that's too much of a spoiler, because that's actually mentioned on the blurb on the back of the book. And yeah, it's illegal to own this drug. But she's also a character who tries to do a lot of good. So she is in this, let's say, multicultural kingdom where 4 different kingdoms are bound together. And it's hailed as this wonderful entity. But it also has its, let's say, dirty secrets, so to say. And we have this really interesting quote in the book, which I want to read out to you. also to give you a little bit of a flavor of the style, because the style of this book is really, really beautiful. And Lysander kind of passes by a tapestry, which is like a map of the kingdom. And she says, Illyria, the tapestry of many colors, climates, and cities, sewn together by one leader, at the expense of a certain type of people, her conscience added. So she tries not to get too corrupted by power, by being in the palace, because as much as Illyria tries to portray itself as a kingdom of many colors that are all working in harmony, there is one group that is left out, and those are called elementals. They're the ones who carry the magic in this world, and they're persecuted. So using magic, belonging to this group is not a good thing, because if you are an elemental, you can be executed. Yeah, and Lysander has tried, basically all the time, where she was the confidant of the queen and her friend, she has tried to convince her to be more lenient towards elementals, and she wasn't successful. And yeah, that fills her with a certain guilt, because we also encounter another flawed character who belongs to this group and who was her former lover. And this also is interesting from the point of view, not only is this a gender equal society, but it's also very open when it comes to sexual preferences. So Lysander has male and female lovers, and this elemental was a female lover of hers. She also is her, in a way, dealer, because she procures this drug for her. So we have lots of very interesting strands in this novel. The basic plot is, the queen dies, Lysander becomes the counselor and is tasked to find the new ruler, but also she, right from the start, doesn't believe that this is a natural death and wants to kind of find out who killed her friend, the queen. And the book itself, I think its most outstanding feature, apart from those elements that I have mentioned so far, is the style in which it's written. It's very atmospheric. If E.J. Beaton does something really, really well, then it's creating atmosphere. And this goes for the palace and its intrigue and the political squabbles that are going on. It goes for, those menacing moments where we see how elementals are hunted, how certain streets in the city are looted. So it goes for that. But also it creates this almost dreamy atmosphere where we get flashbacks, where we get more of Lysander's backstory. And sometimes it's not quite clear anymore. This border between reality and dream is kind of very fluid. And we have, of course, then also Lysander and the drug and what that drug does to her and the influence of that drug. If I would have to compare this book, I would say in atmosphere, it comes close to what Daniel Abraham does in the Long Price Quartet. It also comes close to this in this question of, what's the price for certain things? No, but you look at this quote that I just gave you now, where she says, that sounds all wonderful, but it comes as a price. And this price that individuals have to pay is also like explored a bit more in this book. Another book I might compare it to is Natasha Pullman's The Clockmaker of Filigree Street, which also is similar in creating this almost dreamlike atmosphere at times. Or Piranesi, I think, would be another book. And even though this is their debut novel, I think she is well able to write that she doesn't have to kind of like shy away from those comparisons. So I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this book for the atmosphere it creates, but also for its characters. As I say, no, we get flawed characters, but they're flawed maybe in slightly different ways than we might normally encounter them in, let's say, more traditional or more mainstream fantasy. So yeah, The Counselor, I enjoyed it. I hope that some of you might pick this up as well and will equally enjoy this book, because I would like to get this author more readers, and I'm really looking forward to whatever they might come up with as their next installment. Okay, thank you for watching, and as always, happy reading and all the best.